It's 5 minutes to 1 o'clock. We are still gauging international reaction on essentially the defeat of Donald Trump in the U.S. Presidential election. Today, the 9th of November, is actually recognized as the International Day Against Fascism and Anti-Semitism. And it was quite interesting to note the atmosphere that was created around the presidency of Donald Trump, not necessarily all out condemning fascist groups and white nationalist groups. Yes, he would say that he condemned them, but not totally outrightly so. And many people would say that he emboldened many of those groups. Professor Rafał Pankowski is the spokesperson for the organization Never Again. It's an organization based in Warsaw, Poland. Founding its principal doctrine is that of anti-racism and anti-fascism. He joins me now. Rafał, thanks so much for coming out onto the air with us. Following essentially the defeat of Donald Trump in the US, what has been the response of particularly white nationalist organization in Eastern Europe? These are organizations that you monitor quite closely.
Well, it is a very important event. Of course, it is quite a big blow to the forces of right-wing populism, nationalism, xenophobia. Across the world, not just in America, not just in the United States, and that certainly includes the region of Central and Eastern Europe, where some of those right-wing populist and xenophobic movements have been very significant in the last years in countries such as Poland or Hungary. So I think this election is having repercussions internationally, and of course that does not mean that right-wing populism would disappear overnight, but it is definitely a big setback for those movements on the international level.
So the debate now is in the United States. Do you call for unity? Or do you call for a big kumbaya moment between Democrats and Republicans when the Republican Party enabled Donald Trump, who enabled, right-wing nationalist groups? The point is then, how do you then educate particularly young men who are disaffected in a new world order, who are looking for some place of home, political home, and many of them get drawn into extremist and fundamentalist views. With today noting its International Day, against fascism, how do you start educating that particular constituency?
I agree with you completely. Education is very, very important, and well, of course, it is easier said than done. Of course, we also need to address, some of the social issues such as inequality that is important for the context of the of the current growth of right-wing populism, but. I would say, education has many different forms, and for us, Never Again Association, it has always been very, very important to also to employ informal education. Also through popular culture, also through music and sports, especially football, which is one of the spheres where many of those young men you mentioned, they get their values, this is where they have their role models. So identity is shaped also through popular culture and sports. And we believe that also sports, also football can be a positive a positive force, but often it is a negative force, which is also used as a platform to spread xenophobia and racism. Both in the context of the stadium and I'm afraid outside of it too.
Professor Rafał Pankowski is the spokesperson for the Polish-based organization Never Again. Thanks so much for joining us on the Midday Report.